Welcome to my views and news. Some news stories for you. Firstly, Oromia, where Berhanu Nega, Ethiopian education minister, head of Azima party, today proposed arming of civilians for self-defense. After the statement from Azima party, Jawar spoke. What did Jawar say? Secondly, Oromia police was seen today joining the protests ongoing across Oromia now. Thirdly, Getachew also spoke about what is happening in Oromia. What did he say? He pointed his fingers towards some government officials, some partners of PMRB, a part of federal government, who are fanning the flames of conflict. And lastly, an Eritrean viewer sent a video to me. He said, Sajid, people are celebrating in Eritrea, you're not reporting. The video is almost a week old. I think the video was captured at a concert which was reportedly held at Sava military training camp. What is this video about? He said a concert of victory was organized by Eritrean people after the end of Tigray war in Tigray. I'll share my views about this video, this concept. Firstly, viewers, Azima party of Berhanu Nega today proposed arming of civilians for self-defense. The party issued a statement with regard to what happened in Vailaga, where on weekend hundreds of innocent civilians were killed. Both groups, three groups, Tigrayans, Oromos, Amharas, they say that large number of members of their ethnic group has been killed. Berhanu Nega's party, Azima, in its statement today said that vulnerable communities where government forces cannot reach should be armed, or where peace cannot be ensured through deployment of regular security forces. He was definitely referring to Vailaga. That in Vailaga, people should be armed. People are already being armed, especially Amharas. Oromos are already armed because Oromos are being represented by Oromo Liberation Army, Oromo security forces too. Amharas were unarmed, but they are being armed. They are being armed for some time, for some months, I think, and that is one of the cause of this escalating violence in Vailaga. Now, my point is that if you start arming civilians, where will it stop? Amhara say they are endangered in Vailaga. Oromo say the same. It means you should arm both the groups. Then they should keep on fighting. Who will implement, who will ensure that law and order prevails in Vailaga? These armed groups from Oromo group or from Amhara group? This suggestion by Naga is very dangerous. I have been opposing arming of civilians in Ethiopia, though it's not a new thing in Ethiopia. Militias are formed in Ethiopia. Militias are basically civilians armed. We have seen that in BG too, in Oromia, other parts of Ethiopia, that civilians are armed. But in Vailaga, which is already a very volatile area, arming of civilians cannot serve the purpose. Some other parties also issued statements in the past few days, mostly Amhara parties like Inath and others. They are demanding establishment, setting up of a military command post in Valaga, especially in east of Valaga. Point is that important point is that Amhara region based parties groups, they want to ensure that Amhara people in Oromia are protected. Protection can only be given by government of Oromia, regional government or federal government. Arming is not a solution. Jawar responded to this suggestion by Berhanu Nega. He said, irresponsible. Less guns is the solution, not more guns. And that is what most people say, that arming of civilians is not a solution to the ongoing conflict in Valaga. These parties, politicians should try to create consensus for start of peace process focused mainly on Valaga. There must be a separate peace process for Valaga, I think, involving all players, local players. And the issue will be resolved with participation of all players, ethnic, religious, political, and obviously OLA will have to be involved. If military offensive against OLA continues, there will never be peace in Valaga because it's OLA's stronghold. Valaga is OLA's power base. OLA will never withdraw from Valaga. It will try to continue its activities in Valaga. It can only leave Valaga if it is defeated, completely defeated. So far, it has managed to survive in Valaga because it has tremendous public support. How will you put an end to this public support for Oromo Liberation Army in Valaga? It's difficult. Secondly, viewers, protests in Oromia intensifying on Wednesday, like on Tuesday, we saw massive demonstrations. I have lost count of the places where protests were held on Tuesday and Wednesday. Almost in all major cities of Oromia, protests have been held. Locals, students, all university students are participating. Means universities in Oromia and in Jagajaga, so my region, we saw demonstrations today. Students, Oromo students at all universities of Oromia are protesting. Police was seen joining these demonstrations today. Oromia police carrying some placards with a message that Oromia region's administrative borders should be respected. Joining of security forces in these demonstrations is a serious development. If Oromia Regional Police, Oromia Special, and there were clashes between Oromia Regional Police and Ethiopian National Defense Force in Endergutan a few days ago, 2 days ago around, when there was conflict in Endergutan. It means that regional police is also registering its protest, that from neighboring region, people, militias are entering Oromia. That is why these police officers said that Oromia region's administrative borders must be respected. Thirdly, viewers, Getachew from Tigray spoke today about what is happening in Western Oromia. He said that TPLF signed the peace agreement with the belief that political problems will be resolved politically or constitutionally. But what is happening in Western Oromia is a repeat of what happened in Tigray. Conflicts are being fueled. Constitution is being rejected, and some officials in federal government are fanning the flames of these conflicts. They are taking their orders from Asmara. He asked a question at the end. Where are they taking orders from? Asmara or Addis Ababa? Firstly, Getachew's statement is a refreshing one. Why? Because whatever happens in one part of Ethiopia, mostly it is ignored by other ethnic groups, other regions. They don't condemn it, other regions. They should condemn if they think that something which is happening is not right. So if Tigray is issuing a statement about what is happening in Oromia, it should be welcomed. Secondly, I think he is implying that Amhara allies of PM Abiy are taking their orders from Asmara, from Eritrea, and they are the ones who are fueling these conflicts in new areas. They were in Tigray, fueling conflict there, and now they are in Oromia. Though he did not name Amhara, but he seems to be pointing his finger towards PM Abiy's Amhara allies. Lastly, viewers, a video is being shared of an Eritrean singer singing at Sawa military camp, I think. Milak Ibrahim is Eritrean vocalist, and he performed a few days ago at Sawa. Sawa is a training camp, a training center for Eritrean youth, where Eritrean youth have to report in the second year of their secondary school education. And for some Eritrean youth, it is a nightmare because they have to report there to continue their studies. Eritrea takes pride in training its youth. They have different position about this linking of education and military training. A concert was held there last week, I think. Milak Ibrahim performed. He performed Mandale there. And some activists, Eritrean activists, are saying that it was a concert of victory. That Eritrean forces achieved victory in Tigray and now they're celebrating. Firstly, it's refreshing to see recruits at Sawa having some fun. Because we always hear that Sawa is a nightmare for recruits, that there is a very repressive environment there. Recruits suffer. They sometimes suffer from diseases, stress, other diseases too. So it was refreshing to see a vocalist performing there. Secondly, Eritrea never officially admitted its military presence in Tigray in this third round of fighting, which ended last month. That is why it shouldn't be said by the activists that it's a celebration of victory. Because all these activists were denying the presence of Eritrean military in Tigray in August and September. They were saying that it was damn hit. Tigrayan opposition group fighting in Tigray. And now they say that it was Eritrean military which struck a decisive blow to TPLF. Eritrean military played a key role. Offensive from the north on Tigray put pressure upon Tigray forces. They had to retreat from close to Waldia. No doubt about that. At least the celebration is not in Tigray. What Awil Said did in Axom should be condemned. He fueled hate, I think. He should have been restrained. He should have spoken somewhere else in Eritrea. So what Milak Ibrahim is doing, it is in Eritrea. So Eritreans have every right to celebrate, though there's nothing to celebrate about in this war. All died. People from all sides died. Millions have perished. Tigrayans, Eritreans, Amharas, Ethiopian National Defense Force members. This war should be a lesson for all. It shouldn't be celebrated. Otherwise, it will lead to further conflicts. Thank you for watching. Watch the clip from the concert held Sawa training camp a few days ago. Thank you for watching.